could you please explain to the listeners exactly what is the prostate and what is its functions?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the prostate is an organ that sits in the pelvis of men, and it sits right below the bladder. And essentially, the main function of the prostate is to actually help with fertilization and for fertility. So without a prostate, the certain fluid can't be made ready for fertilization, but it's in a very sensitive area. And realistically, what happens is as men get older, the prostate grows, natural part of aging. And so there can be problems with prostates, such as prostatitis, inflammation. Men, as they get older, almost uniformly get some degree of prostate growth that may not be related to cancer. And that's why men may have some urinary troubles as they get older. In fact, many men do. And then the last that we'll talk about, which is what we're focusing on here, is sometimes the glands or cells within the prostate itself become cancerous. And if they become cancerous, then what we fear is that those cancerous cells can leave the prostate and spread to other areas of the body.
Yeah, so Dr. Khandu, his PSA levels were extremely normal forever. And he had a spike in a very short period of time.
Right.
So I couldn't understand it, and perhaps you can help me and the listeners understand why that may have happened.
I think that's a really great question. And I think what we need to understand is that the PSA stands for P, prostate specific S antigen A. So all men make PSA, and the PSA really isn't the problem. Rather, it's the cancer that we care about. But as a man ages, generally the PSA goes up. So what we can say about the PSA is that it is specific to the prostate, and all men will have some PSA, but it is not necessarily cancer specific. So just because a man has an elevation in his PSA, does not necessarily mean that he has prostate cancer. But really for us as urologists or people who treat prostate cancer, it tells us, hey, pay attention. Something may be going on here. And so, Shay, as you mentioned, what we expect is a slow change in PSA over time, and that's expected for a man, or really any man above the age of 40 or 50, and more as you get older. But when Al had a little spike up in his PSA, even though that you may have a little bit of growth of the prostate over time, well, a spike up is something that tells us as urologists that we should investigate, and that's what led to the diagnosis.